Earlier on, I couldn't also hear properly, so it's good that now you can hear me. Joseph, I'm just checking whether Jerome is with us. I checked earlier and I couldn't see him in the list.
Yeah, I also don't see him now. So, Engineer Said, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. He had requested for the link, which I have shared, but I don't seem to have seen him connecting yet. So I've been trying to call him. He's not picking. So I'll keep checking.
Okay.
And I will go through the overview and objectives, and hopefully by the time that is done, our keynote, the speaker to give us the opening remarks would be ready. Okay, colleagues, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be joining us from. And welcome to the 8th in the series of webinars on the framework for sustainable agricultural mechanization in Africa. We are calling in our series, which are in fact jointly organized by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the African Union Commission, and the African Conservation Tillage Network. So this has been a series, and this in fact is the 8th in the series and the last one for the year 2021.
Something seems to be going wrong.
What's happening?
Yeah, something is wrong.
Yeah, I think his internet connection is not very good.
Yes, unfortunately, there was a disruption in the internet connection. Apologies for that. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I was just saying that my name is Mark Finn. I am an agro-food systems and investment specialist with FAO, with the Sub-Regional Office for Southern Africa. I'll be your moderator for today. And quickly give you an overview of the this webinar. Please, can you allow me to show my screen? I would like to show my screen and share a quick overview and objectives of this webinar. Kindly allow me to show my screen, please, to share my screen.
You can go ahead and share.
Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning.
So I hope you can screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yes, we can see.
Hello?
What's going on?
Hello, Mark. We cannot hear you.
I was saying that I'm just giving you a short overview of the A. As I indicated, this is the A.
It's probably the problem. Finn, what's going on?
Colleagues, I think if we stop showing the videos, maybe it will improve a bit. The
Yeah.
videos are taking a lot of
Yeah.
yes, the network. So
Yeah,
if we
let
may
us stop the
short-
videos.
stop- yes, please.
Prof. Brarash, can you stop the video and also Director Kamara?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
maybe it will help. Yeah.
Hello, Mark. Can you hear us? Can you reconnect? Okay, we seem to have lost our moderator, Mark Finn, but also in the same context, I have seen Prof. Jerome Africana, the person giving the opening remarks, has joined us.
Professor Jerome.
Muted. Okay. Sorry, connection today is not that straightforward.
Engineer Saidi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and I can see Prof. Africana. I thought he was going to proceed to give the opening remarks.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest, if possible.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yes, please, Prof. Proceed.
Do we have Mark now?
He seems to be having internet connection issues. So
Yeah, connection today was slightly difficult, so I hope he will join soon. Okay, let me proceed with the opening remarks so that we do not waste time.
thank you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are. Yodi Yasmi, the Deputy Regional Representative, FAO Regional Office for Africa, FAORAF. Joseph Kenze, Agric Engineer and leader of the Mechanization Group in Plant Production and Protection Division of FAO, Rome, Italy. The lead presenter for today's event, Engineer Saidi Mokwa, Executive Director, as well as Professor El Hassan Bourach, Technical Advisor, African Conservation Tillage Network. Esteemed panelists, we have 4 of them. Bereket Fosido, who is the Director of Agric Mechanization, Ministry of Agriculture, Ethiopia. Abdulrahman Kamara, Director of Agric Engineering, Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry, Sierra Leone. Adri Mandi Rondroimalala, I hope I got your name right, the Head of Department for the Promotion of Agricultural Mechanization, Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, Madagascar, and Valentine Fombi, Deputy Director of Agric Mechanization, Cameroon. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are all staying safe from the Omicron virus. It's with great pleasure and privilege for me to welcome you to this 8th in the series of our webinar series on joint action on operationalization of the framework for sustainable agric mechanization, FSAMA, in Africa. I thank the organizing committee for inviting me to give the opening remarks for this important webinar on behalf of the African Union Commission, as it concludes the 2021 webinar series, which is jointly organized by the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the African Union Commission, and the African Conservation Tillage Network. For today's webinar, we intend to summarize the main lessons learned from the 2021 mechanization series, and we've had 7 so far. Today is the 8th one, and put forward suggestions on stakeholder engagement activities at the national, subnational, and continental level for 2022 and beyond, with the strategic involvement of a major stakeholder group here, the directors and heads of agricultural mechanization and engineering services of African states. Ladies and gentlemen, I am highly encouraged to see many sector stakeholders, including directors of agricultural mechanization, other mechanization experts, women and youth are all able to participate in today's event. Indeed, it is worth noting that the participation of array of stakeholders from the public and private sector, farmers and farmers organizations, development partners, NGOs, research and the academia, among others. This is fundamentally important as it helps create a participatory environment and collaborative effort for the development and promotion of mechanization in Africa. In this 8th webinar, we are privileged to have dedicated contributions and perspectives of the heads and directors of agric mechanization from Cameroon, Ethiopia, Madagascar, and Sierra Leone, as well as the Secretariat of the African Mechanization Platform. We thank them all for agreeing to participate in this important webinar. Under the African Union's 2014 Malabo Declaration, as many of you know, AU member states explicitly committed themselves to making investment in suitable, reliable, and affordable mechanization and energy supplies in order to double productivity by 2025, which is just 4 years away, as part of the commitment to ending hunger in Africa. In spite of this commitment, however, Only a few countries have actually included mechanization in their national agricultural investment plans. This for sure is a worrisome trend. We must now get to our feet and collectively activate this commitment in operationalizing the FSAMA framework. Esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen, what we know is that currently, Africa is the continent with the least mechanized agricultural system in the world. African farmers have 10 times fewer mechanized tools per farm area than farmers in other developing regions. And access has not grown as quickly as in other regions. Well, if you read the FSAMA framework, you'll find that indeed we are still in stage 1 of the mechanization process. 50 to 58 to 85% of farm work continues to be done manually without the support of animals or machinery. Only 10% of total power for land preparation in Sub-Saharan Africa comes from engine-powered machines using fossil fuels. In order for Africa to raise agricultural land and labor productivity, to generate rural employment and make it more attractive, and to achieve future growth and poverty reduction agendas, governments at all levels must embrace the technological, policy, and institutional innovation opportunities afforded by mechanization. Successful mechanization along the value chain will have to be a priority in any future development and growth agendas for African smallholders, agriculture. Its success depends on stakeholders' exchanges and organizational innovations, such as reliable services and cooperation arrangements for and with farmers. Increased cooperation between the private sector and research institutions is needed in order to strengthen domestic mechanization efforts. This can be achieved by developing locally appropriate and affordable machines and technologies. Substantial investment in public-private partnership must therefore be made in order to foster research and development, vocational training, and skills development programs, as well as to stimulate innovation along the value chain. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, I believe that the seminar of today will enhance the sharing of experiences and networking. I will awaken the realization on the need to address challenges and opportunities related to the promotion and development of sustainable agricultural mechanization along the food value chain. It is very important that the challenges are tackled and good practices are shared and scaled up to fully unlock the potential of the agricultural sector on the continent. I call on all of us to actively participate in the discussions today as we shape our way forward into 2022. And let all of us commit to playing our part in ensuring coordinated and sustainable mechanization in our spheres of influence. I would like to thank FAO, the African Union Commission, and the African Conservation Tillage Network for their invaluable support and cooperation in making this webinar series and to this webinar possible. We feel highly grateful and we thank them for the work they've been doing so far. On behalf of the organizing committees, I would like to once again thank all of you for participating, and I look forward to very fruitful deliberations and recommendations on forging ahead with this particular program in 2022. With these remarks, it is now my singular pleasure to formally declare this webinar officially open on behalf of the African Union Commission. Thank you for your attention. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Prof. Jerome Afekina, advisor to the Commissioner of Agriculture, the African Union Commission, for opening this webinar for us. And colleagues, apologies for the internet challenges that I had. I hope that it will remain stable now so we can go through our program as planned. Let me at this point quickly take you through the objectives of this webinar, and then we will proceed accordingly. So I hope you can see my screen now. It is just 2 slides that I'm going to show you. So as indicated, this is the 8th in the series of webinars, the AfricaMechanize webinars that we have been having. Now, the focus of this particular webinar is on element number 10 of the framework for sustainable agricultural mechanization in Africa, which was developed jointly between the African Union Commission and the FAO. And that element number 10 is on creating sustainable institutions for regional cooperation and networking. So that is going to be the focus of our discussions today. And as part of that, we want to build on lessons learned from this year's webinar series and the stakeholder interactions that we have had through the AfricaMechanize platform to identify possible ways to operationalize this element number 10, which is focusing on sustainable institutions in the framework for sustainable agricultural mechanization. So the specific objectives of this webinar, therefore, are 1, to summarize the learnings from the series of webinars this year with a view to informing the planning for 2022. So that is one key objective that we have set for ourselves. And in doing so, we have included strategically the directors and heads of agricultural mechanization services of national governments to help us chart a way forward for 2022. Then the second key objective is that this webinar is to provide a platform for all the stakeholders, such as you who have joined, to share information, experiences, and good practices on creating sustainable institutions for regional cooperation and networking. So you see that the emphasis is on sustainable institutions that facilitates the discourse around sustainable agricultural mechanization. So those are our objectives for today. As I indicated, this is the 8th in the series, and you will be informed about all the previous 7, at least the focus of the previous 7 webinars that we have had in the next presentation, which is the lead presentation that we are going to have, and that focuses on lessons learned from the 2021 AfricaMechanize Webinar Series and implications for the 2022 Stakeholder Engagement and Webinar Series. That presentation is going to be made by Engineer Saidi Nkomwa, who is the Executive Director of African Conservation Tillage Network, and he will be joined by Professor El Hassan Barirak, who is a technical advisor also at the African Conservation Tillage Network. So Saidi, I hand over the floor to you, please.
Thank you very much, moderator Mark Finn, and very many thanks to also Prof. Afekena and all the participants to webinar 8. So as I already explained, my presentation is on the AfricaMechanize platform, the Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization Knowledge Management, Information Sharing and Networking Platform. And specifically to share the lessons learned from the 2021 webinar series and what needs to be planned for the coming year. Again, as explained, my presentation is jointly with Professor El Hassan Borarash. And The first question is, what is AfricaMechanize? It is a platform on sustainable agricultural mechanization, aiming to enhance knowledge management, information sharing, networking, and partnerships in Africa. It has been developed to support the FSAMA initiative of the African Union Commission and the FAO, with the FAO providing technical support and the African Conservation Tillage Network, ACT, providing secretariat functions. So it's focused on contributing to operationalization of all elements, all 10 elements of FSAMA, given the cross-cutting nature of knowledge management. It is also open, all-inclusive, and a neutral platform addressing the sustainable agricultural mechanization developmental issues of all African Union member states with support of private sector and development partners. We have a secretariat, the link is shared, but there is also a hashtag AfricaMechanize for those who are savvy to the Twitter platforms. The platform in brief, it has 4 main components: a knowledge hub, which features e-resources, contribution to knowledge exchange, news, updates, and events. There is also a component on capacity building, networking, and partnerships, featuring several components on its own, and one of these being the webinars. In its fully operational state, the platform will also have a magazine and journal to inform stakeholders on current trends and innovations within the industry. But it will also include a technical assistance section. Therefore, this is a public information tool to inform, educate, and bring forward emerging issues pertaining to sustainable agricultural mechanization along the value chain in Africa. For the past year, a number of webinars have been conducted, and the critical problem of agricultural mechanization seems to have been the lack of records, objective and balanced analysis of past experiences in terms of successes or failed programs to assist us draw useful lessons to inform policy and planning. The objective of the webinars, therefore, was to provide an opportunity to all key stakeholders from the public and private sector to share knowledge, experiences, and lessons, and propose innovative solutions and models towards operationalization of the FSAMA. And we had during the past year a total of 7 webinars, this being the 8th, as has been mentioned. 48 speakers of different expertise along the 10 elements of the SAMA. 1,425 participants coming from 75 countries, 43 of these being from Africa. Specifically, the webinars, webinar 1 was on introducing the framework for sustainable agricultural mechanization itself and introducing the AfricaMechanize platform. And while the directors and heads of agricultural mechanization were the focus, but it attracted also, the target group was broader. Webinar 2 was on operationalization of AfricaMechanize operationalization of the SAMA, included under the AfricaMechanize platform. And in this webinar, we focused on the private and civil sector's promotion of sustainable agricultural mechanization in the continent. along the entire value chain. We had cases of AgroLisco, a financing organization based in Zambia, and Kilimo Trust, a not-for-profit organization operating in East Africa. Webinar 3 was on different pathways to promote access and use of mechanization. And in here, we had the directors for mechanization from Nigeria, Engineer Abubakar, and the director for mechanization from Cameroon, Engineer Fombin. Webinar 4 was on the impact of paradigm shifts on the development of agricultural mechanization in sub-Saharan Africa, the case of farm power. We have a very comprehensive discussion paper developed, which was also shared by Professor Geoffrey Mrema. Webinar 5 was on promoting innovative financing mechanisms for sustainable agricultural mechanization. We had a diversity of speakers from IFAD, West Africa, from AGRA, from Jane Cope. And webinar 6 was on joint actions on operationalization of the framework for summer, with experiences from Senegal and South Africa. Again, we had the directors of agricultural mechanization from those countries presenting the cases. Webinar 7 was on enhancing social sustainability and the roles of women and youth in agricultural mechanization in Africa, with presentations from the AUC NEPAD, but also from Nepal, with the high-level openings from PAFO and other key speakers. I need to say, just to remind you, that all of these webinar details are available on the AfricaMechanize platform at the provided link. So let me stop here and welcome my colleague, Professor Borarash, to take us through on some of the key lessons from these 7 webinar series, and what, learning from these key lessons, what should we do differently, or in addition to what we already know for 2022. Prof. Borarash, please.
Oui, merci. Can I ask the English speaking to switch to English, because the translation, because I will speak in French. Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. I have no. Okay. Alors, quels sont les enseignements tirés de ces... Sorry. Alors, les enseignements, la connaissance et les informations sur la mécanisation agricole durable sont des ressources importantes requises pour la mobilisation et l'utilisation efficace des investissements, la formulation des politiques et la mise en œuvre des programmes de mécanisation agricole durable. Il est donc nécessaire d'avoir une plateforme comme AfricaMechanize pour soutenir le partage des connaissances et des informations sur la mécanisation agricole durable dans l'opérationnalisation du cadre de la mécanisation agricole durable en Afrique. Alors, la mécanisation agricole durable en Afrique est une question urgente et la plupart des pays africains doivent développer une mécanisation agricole durable inclusive tout au long de la chaîne de valeur, et en particulier en aidant les petits agriculteurs et les petites et moyennes entreprises à atteindre une intensification durable de la production, une meilleure gestion post-récolte, une réduction des pertes et du gaspillage alimentaire. Les rôles des directeurs de mécanisation agricole, des chefs des services de mécanisation agricole dans tous les pays de l'Afrique subsaharienne doivent être renforcés pour coordonner la mise en œuvre des projets et des programmes de mécanisation agricole durable au niveau national. Troisième leçon, la série de webinaires a indiqué les lacunes existantes dans les connaissances entre les pays africains et le manque de collaboration, et de réseaux et de partenariats appropriés pour faire progresser la mécanisation agricole durable. Next. Please, next. Because you share the slide. OK. Le quatrième enseignement, on a pris cette phrase de professeur Mrema. La prise en compte de la durabilité va au-delà de la durabilité environnementale pour inclure la durabilité commerciale et socio-économique. C'était discuté lors du webinaire numéro 4. La mécanisation agricole durable contribue à augmenter la superficie cultivée et la productivité tout au long de la chaîne de valeur. Ça concerne l'efficacité des opérations, la rapidité, la qualité des produits, les opérations de commercialisation et à contrôler les pertes. Sixième leçon, la MAD contribue à la transition des agriculteurs des systèmes agroalimentaires de subsistance vers les systèmes agroalimentaires commerciaux en produisant un excédent et en augmentant leurs revenus. Septièmement, le préalable à toute durabilité est l'adoption d'innovations technologiques et de bonnes pratiques. Huitième leçon, la durabilité par le renforcement de toute la chaîne de valeur, environnement économique, partenariat public-privé, promotion de bonnes pratiques, agriculture de conservation également. Next, please. Next slide, please. Neuvième point, d'autre part, il existe des preuves de l'existence de solutions innovantes méritant d'être partagées à travers l'Afrique pour informer des programmes d'investissement en mécanisation agricole durable. Dixième point, les parties prenantes en mécanisation agricole durable, y compris les directeurs et les chefs des services, doivent disposer de données et de preuves scientifiques pour soutenir la vision à long terme et l'opérationnalisation des CMADA. La plateforme AfricaMechanize a et continue de fournir une opportunité d'accomplir cela avec les directeurs et les chefs des services de mécanisation agricole prenant le siège de conducteur pour diriger la plateforme. Onzième leçon, il est clairement nécessaire de s'appuyer sur le succès de la série de webinaires pour améliorer les collaborations des pays, la mise en œuvre du cadre stratégique de mécanisation agricole durable en Afrique. Il est également nécessaire de déplacer l'analyse et les études de la MAD au-delà du niveau national et d'examiner le niveau sous-régional, continental, dans les domaines où les économies d'échelle et de gamme s'imposent. Next, please. Les histoires de réussite. Alors, nous avons relevé que 3, mais on en a beaucoup plus. D'abord, les bonnes expériences d'introduction d'outils, technologies d'information et de communication dans les services de location des machines ont été signalées. Également, des expériences innovantes dans le financement de la MAD ont également été partagées à l'aide de la plateforme AfricaMechanize. Des exemples également d'amélioration de l'implication des femmes dans la mécanisation comme forme de durabilité. Ça concerne le point 7 des 10 priorités. Des études formelles ont été lancées pour documenter des études de cas sur les orientations des investissements dans la MAD. Next, please. Alors, quels sont les défis à surmonter? Alors, il reste encore de nombreux défis à relever dans les 10 éléments du CMADA. Il est nécessaire de développer des arbres de problèmes et de solutions contextualisées par pays et par chaîne de valeur pour éclairer l'élaboration de programmes d'investissement. La documentation et le partage des innovations et des meilleures pratiques en Afrique, telles que présentées par la plateforme AfricaMechanize, propose des solutions devraient être poursuivies et renforcées. Next slide, please. Alors, quelles sont les alternatives de financement? Je vous renvoie au webinaire numéro 5. On nous a posé une question, c'était qu'est-ce qui vous vient à l'esprit lorsque vous pensez au financement? La réponse des participants, c'était d'abord la durabilité, mais également l'accès aux machines, l'accès au financement et également la formation. Donc, de bons exemples de mécanismes de financement innovants qui ont pris en compte les exigences et les contraintes des bailleurs de fonds et des agriculteurs, comme le mode de possession, le mode de partager des machines, la gestion des risques, l'assurance, la contribution financière propre des agriculteurs ont été présentés. Ce sont des solutions et des modèles à approfondir et à adopter. Les programmes financés sont nécessaires pour tirer parti, capitaliser sur l'intérêt généré par la série de webinaires du CEMADA AfricaMechanize. Le soutien à l'intervention doit cibler les niveaux national, sous-régional, régional en vue de l'opérationnalisation des 10 éléments prioritaires du CEMADA. Les opportunités de financement du CEMADA nécessitent des accords mutuels entre les secteurs publics et privés, mais également, et j'insiste là-dessus, une coopération mutuelle coordonnée au niveau sous-régional, régional entre la Commission de l'Union africaine et les pays membres du CEMADA. Alors, pour 2022, nous pensons à plusieurs activités à planifier, mais il reste à développer ce planning de 2022 selon les résultats et la feuille de route des recommandations de ce 8e webinaire. L'organigramme d'AfricaMechanize doit être développé pour inclure les contributions stratégiques et la participation des directeurs des départements de mécanisation agricole et les chefs de service de mécanisation agricole et les rôles définis de toutes les parties prenantes. Cela s'ajoute au partenariat actuel de la plateforme AfricaMechanize composée de la Commission de l'Union africaine, de la FAO et de l'ACT. Les fonctions de base de la plateforme AfricaMechanize, qui sont l'échange, la gestion des connaissances, la revue, le bulletin, renforcement des capacités, etc., évaluation, suivi, également l'apprentissage, ceci en fonction, bien sûr, des partenariats établis et des ressources obtenues. Alors, nous tenons à remercier la Commission de l'Union africaine pour son leadership, la FAO pour le soutien technique et financier, et l'ACT pour les services du secrétariat, dont les actions conjointes ont permis de maintenir la plateforme AfricaMechanize opérationnelle. Le comité d'organisation pour le soutien inestimable dans les coulisses, vous connaissez et vous reconnaissez le nom et les visages de toutes les personnes qui ont contribué à la réalisation de ces webinaires. Et je vous remercie pour votre attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Engineer Saidi and Professor Durarat, for giving us the key lessons of the 7 webinars that we have had up until this point. You have indicated the focus of each of those 7 webinars. You have distilled the key lessons that came out from those discussions. You have also highlighted some challenges which still need to be discussed and addressed. And you have given us pointers to what is still ahead in the coming year. So thank you very much for that. And I think this sets the stage perfectly for the next session of our webinar today. And Here, I would like to introduce our panelists. We are very happy to have 4 distinguished panelists with us this morning or afternoon or evening, depending on your location. And they are going to help us share their thoughts on what we have been discussing so far. So first, we have Bereket Fosido, who is the Director of Agricultural Mechanization at the Ministry of Agriculture in Ethiopia.
La directive
We also have
du ministère de l'Agriculture en Éthiopie.
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you very much. There was some interruptions from the interpretation. Okay, so let me continue. So the second panelist, we have Abdul Rahman Kamara, who is the Director of Agricultural Engineering, Ministry of Agriculture and Forestry from Sierra Leone. Then we have Andrea Madi Rondromalala, Head of Department for the Promotion of Agricultural Mechanization, Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, Madagascar. And finally, we have Valentine Fombing, who has also been a constant participant in most of the previous webinars. He's the Deputy Director of Agricultural Mechanization from Cameroon. So colleagues, you see that all the 4 sub-regions of the continent are represented here: Western Africa, Central Africa. We have Southern Africa as well as Eastern Africa. Okay, we are missing Northern Africa, but I'm sure that in the exchanges and your contributions, we will have Northern Africa perspective as well. Let me remind you that we have the chat and we have the Q&A features. You can put your comments and questions in the chat and the Q&A features in Zoom, and we will then address them accordingly as and when they come. So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard the presentation from Engineer Saidi and Professor Burarach on the previous webinars and the lessons. It is very clear from that presentation that systemic knowledge and information sharing is key, as well as the building of institutions, very key in promoting agricultural mechanization and ensuring that it becomes a key pillar of agricultural transformation on the continent. Now, so based on that, we want to look back a little bit and then reflect on the main lessons that we picked up from those webinars. So my first question will go to Bereket as well as Abdulrahman Kamara. I would like to find out from you, what are the main lessons you learned from the 2021 webinar series with reference to a couple of things. One, with reference to generation of knowledge that supports programming, planning, and policy recommendations. That is one aspect. Also, you may consider the ease of access to needed information, documents, and other information resources on sustainable agricultural mechanization. The third aspect relates to inclusion, which is about inclusion of responses of your stakeholders, their thoughts and suggestions. Did you feel that we had these aspects in the previous webinars? And then you may also comment on the organizational aspects of those webinars. So let me start with you, Bereket Fosido, to share your thoughts on these issues with us, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mark. Actually, the AIDS platform is my second time. I have only joined the second one. So with all the 7 previous platform, I have been following the information shared on the website, even if I couldn't attend the webinar discussion directly or online. So I have got so many lessons from the previous discussions or platforms. For example, the experience shared from Ghana and the experience from shared Ghana and Cameroon, and the experience shared from Senegal on agricultural service provisions. We have been doing the same activities in Ethiopia to address the agricultural mechanization service information through ICT-based structure. For example, Hello Earth was one of our example to establish same type of service providers for smallholders who couldn't have access for farm machinery, or those who can't afford to buy farm machineries by themselves, and those who cannot be addressed through normal communication means. As we all know, most rural areas can't access electricity, so information exchange was not easy through all the communication means. So in this regard, we have established some platforms or some communication agencies to link all the mechanization value chains across the country. For example, for farmers who need mechanization service, they provide the location or the farm machinery owners list and the price and the list of items that the owner has. For example, farm tractor with a range of horsepower will be listed, implements and other accessories will be listed, and price lists also as a margin will be listed. So the farmer can directly contact these service providers through this online farm machinery service provision linkage. This is one example that we have learned from this platform, and we have already established 2 private service provision linkage platforms. One is Lersha, you may know it, and the one is Hello Earth. So I can say that this platform has given us these insights to start using ICT for mechanization service provisions. This is one of the lessons.
Thank you very much, Barakat, for sharing that experience. And it's refreshing to note that the discussions and the experience sharing that we have had, specifically in this context, you are referring to the experiences on using ICT to promote access to agricultural mechanization services. I think we had some examples from Nigeria on Hello Tractor. We also heard from Ghana on Trotro Tractor. And based on that, you're saying you are also actually doing something very similar to enhance access to agricultural mechanization for smallholder farmers in Ethiopia. So thank you very much. It's refreshing to see that those exchanges are also informing planning and programming in other countries, in this case, specifically in Ethiopia. Let me now go to Abdurrahman, please, to share your reflections on the issues that I raised before. Please, you have 3 minutes to share your reflections.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Fee. I want to say thanks to FAO, AUC, and ACT Network for actually organizing these webinars. They have been very useful and educative and actually supported us in Sierra Leone to actually develop our policies. And I think these webinars, we had exchange of ideas from a lot of other countries like Ghana, I think Nepal, and those sort of things. But what is more important here is that actually, as a result of my continuous participation in these webinars, because this is not my first webinar, I think I participated in 2 or 3, these 3, 4 webinars, this is the 5th, I think. And I gain a lot of knowledge, and that which I actually inputted into the development of our national mechanization policy in Sierra Leone, which is underway with support from FAO. In fact, we have gone a long way right now. We are engaging the stakeholders. We are moving tomorrow to the provinces to engage the stakeholders, because I believe if we don't engage the stakeholders, then documents will not be very useful, because in the end, it will be their document, it will affect them. If we don't engage them, that's the problem. So I gain a lot of that from these webinars. And also the involvement of women in agriculture, especially mechanization, because in Africa, I'll say in Africa, of course, women spend a lot of energy in food production. 60 to 75%, I think, work in the farm is being done by women. And if we don't mechanize, then that means we are punishing our women. So this webinar, I think I also saw some presentation, I cannot remember if it's from Ghana or Nepal again, where women were very actively participating. And I believe also that if we want to involve women, we have to provide user-friendly machines, looking at the nature of the work. And also, I also believe that women should be actually involved along the food value chain. It's not just about plowing, how about threshing, how about milling along the food value chain. Women should be involved, And there was also some presentation during one of these webinars about sustainability of the system, the machines. And I believe that we have to get the right machines, the spare parts, and we develop the capacity of the youth, because the youth, that's including men and male and female, they are the bedrock of development in terms of this undertaking. But if we are serious about having food security, or about moving out of this quagmire of food insecurity, I think our government must invest on mechanization along the food value chain. I think that is very, very important.
Okay, right. Thank you very much, Abdurrahman, for also those reflections. I think I particularly picked what you said about the inclusion of your stakeholders, that what you picked from those webinar series are also shared with different stakeholders in the country at subnational level even, to make sure that the message has gone down. And you made reference to the Ghana example about the involvement of women in agricultural mechanization. Yes, in fact, we had that catchy a phrase which said women in the driving seat. That was the example from Ghana, which showed how women actually were operating these machines, not just for the farming aspects of the value chain, but also in the other off-farm segments of the value chain. And yes, you have also touched on the aspects of our previous discussions which related to sustainability as well as the inclusion of the youth, and how that is informing your programming at country level. Thank you very much for sharing those perspectives. Now, let me bring in the thoughts and reflections from our panelists from Madagascar and Cameroon. So first I come to you, Andrea Madi Rondromalala, and the question that I would like to pose to you relates to what is the value addition from your perspective of the AfricaMechanize webinars that we are talking about to your national programs. What value have these webinars brought to your national programs, if there is any? And what is unique about these webinar series that we are referring to? And if you compare these webinar series to other sort of information platforms on sustainable agricultural mechanization. And lastly, what other information sources on sustainable agricultural mechanization have you relied on in the past? So if I summarize, what is the value addition of these webinar series to your national programs? What is unique about this compared to other information on sustainable agricultural mechanization, and what other information sources have you relied on in the past? So let's hear your reflections. Andrea Madi, please.
Merci beaucoup de m'avoir donné la parole. Je salue tout le monde pour cette week-end. Pour mon intervention. Par rapport aux questions sur les valeurs ajoutées apportées par les webinaires, excusez-moi, je vais changer en français. Oui, c'est ça. Plus particulièrement, le plus important, la valeur ajoutée la plus importante pour nous, c'est déjà la considération du secteur de la mécanisation dans les nouveaux projets ou les projets en cours actuellement, car depuis la validation de la cadre du CEMADA, il y avait des séances de travail à travers ce webinaire. Nous faisons des partages et des comptes rendus réguliers au niveau des instances du ministère de l'Agriculture sur tout ce qui sont discutés sur le webinaire. Et c'est à partir de cela que actuellement, pendant l'élaboration de nouveaux projets ou des projets en cours, la considération du secteur de la mécanisation est apportée et considérée par tout le monde. Ça, c'est le point très important, la valeur ajoutée très importante de ces webinaires et surtout de la validation de la CEMADA à Madagascar. En plus, il y a aussi les discussions apportées ici sur les webinaires confirment bien notre stratégie pour la mise en œuvre des différents projets de la mécanisation au niveau du ministère. C'est le cas, par exemple, du jeune ingénieur de la Côte d'Ivoire ou du Sénégal, je ne me souviens pas très bien, qui fait des services de machines agricoles. Et ça a beaucoup plu à beaucoup de monde et beaucoup de décideurs ici à Madagascar de voir des jeunes diplômés travaillant dans le secteur de services de machines agricoles. À part cela, beaucoup de documents sont disponibles au niveau de la plateforme de l'AfricaMechanize. Ce qui nous a beaucoup aidé, c'est surtout le document sur le guide d'utilisateur ou guide d'utilisateur de machines agricoles. C'était une étude partagée pour le cas de l'Éthiopie. Ce document-là, c'est très important et quelques données techniques dans le document est utilisable à Madagascar. Nous donnons beaucoup d'importance sur les documents puisque chez nous, on n'a pas assez de documents sur la mécanisation. et le partage de ces documents nous sont très chers et très enrichissants, surtout pour l'équipe du ministère dans tout ce qui est développement du secteur de la mécanisation. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, Andrea Madi, for also showing us or telling us that the webinar series has brought some value to your programming and your projects in Madagascar, and that when in developing new projects, you are actually looking at how agricultural mechanization can facilitate the development and implementation of those programs. And also you highlighted how the different materials on the AfricaMechanize platform have proved important and useful for your programming in Madagascar. Thank you very much. Let me now go to Valentin Fombin from Cameroon. Please, to also share your perspectives on this question. Hello. Hello, Mr. Valentin Fombin. Are you speaking? I cannot hear you. I can see you speaking, but I cannot hear you. Can other colleagues hear him?
No, we can't hear you.
No, can't hear you.
Okay, so I think there is a challenge with the audio. I think there is a challenge with your audio. You may wish to check it and then please, because we cannot hear you. Okay, now you're muted. Maybe you can unmute again and try. Okay, so I think there is a little challenge there. So please try and get some assistance to rectify the challenge with the audio, and then I will come back to you. Okay, so I want to proceed to now look forward to 2022. So here, I would like to come to, looking forward, learning from the lessons and moving into 2022, what we want to take into that process. What are some of the key things we need to put in place to ensure that what we have started continues in a systematic, structured manner that facilitates the promotion of agricultural mechanization. So let me come to you. Again, Mr. Fosido from Ethiopia, and ask you what general changes, what specific and general changes you would like to recommend to the format and content of the AfricaMechanize Webinar series. I mean, you said you participated in, for example, the second webinar, and you are participating in this one. You have also checked or followed the materials which have been put on the platform. What would you recommend in terms of changes that we could make in the format and content of these webinar series? Please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mark. Let me add one more experience that we have shared and applied at the same as this platform. In Ethiopia, we have Ethiopian Agricultural Mechanization Forum, which has been started after this African Agricultural Mechanization Platform. So with this forum, we have been trying to pull together all the stakeholders along the value chain of agricultural mechanization services, including universities, service providers, training centers, and even other non-governmental organizations who is working on the agricultural mechanization. So this platform has given us a lot of insights in exchanging informations, and it avoids some mandate overlapping or activities overlapping. Before that, we have been doing the same activities in different places without knowing what we have been doing each other. So in this platform, we always yearly, 2 times a year, we held this platform, Ethiopian Agricultural Mechanization Forum, and we exchange the priorities, what has to be done to lift up the Ethiopian agricultural mechanizations. And also we share our demands and interests. For example, in the market, in the agricultural mechanization sector, what kind of professionals we need from the universities, and what kind of trainings we should give, what are the real challenges in the bottom line or in the ground. So this all informations was come together in this platform, and we will have good baseline or baseline information to plan the next step. So this is also another experience to establish platform within the country next to this African Mechanization Forum. So I think all the progress, all the 7 platforms that have been held before has good improvements. It has good progress. But when we share sometimes experiences, it is good to make it, visible. More of the informations that shared here are literatures. So actually, I have seen 2 experiences shared with video from India or Nepal or something on agricultural robotics, something shared with this platform, or SAMA, I think. Such kind of information exchange is good to practically understand what has been done on those countries who shared the experiences. Also, it's better to have a yearly, at least once a year, selecting good experience and evaluating the best one among those countries, and to prepare personal visit on those areas. Also, you have suggested organograph has to be developed for this platform. I was going to suggest the same thing about this organograph and mandates of each assigned personnel or activity owners under this organograph. It's already, I think, planned for the next year. These are my points I have to suggest for now.
Okay, thank you very much. I think these are really very good points that you have made there. One, you have highlighted the importance of having institutionalizing the exchange through the platform. You gave the example of the Ethiopian Agricultural Mechanization Forum. So this goes to the core of this topic, institutionalization of these exchanges to make it systematic, to structure it, and to make it sustainable, this kind of exchange. So thank you very much for that experience that you shared. And you are saying that also these good practices, this lot of information it is good to have the document that we can read, but let's also bring in audio visuals so that it makes it easier. You can listen, you can watch, and it reinforces the messaging. So that is also a very good point that you have made, which I think we will take on board. And you have also said that it is good to actually distill the different experiences and sort of come up with the best or good practices and facilitate exchange visits to see what is actually happening on the ground. So these exchange visits is also good. And finally, you touched on the organogram that was hinted at in Professor Burarat's presentation for the Africa Mechanized platform. Okay, excellent. Thank you very much for sharing those thoughts. Let me hear from you, Andrea Madi, please. What would be your suggestions for us going forward to improve on what we have done in 2021, please? Please unmute and speak.
Merci beaucoup. Certaines améliorations ou recommandations sont déjà parlées par le panéliste de l'Éthiopie. Il a parlé surtout des échanges audiovisuels de bonnes pratiques. Je confirme cette proposition et recommandation. Mais laissez-moi quand même apporter aussi quelque chose comme des discussions plutôt techniques entre les panélistes, entre les participants. Je pense que c'est très important aussi puisque pour la mise en œuvre effective, la mise en œuvre à l'échelle des activités du CEMADA, il nous faut des connaissances techniques à partager avec les autres pays. C'est pour cela que je pense qu'il est aussi important de mener plus de discussions dans le domaine technique dans la mise en œuvre des activités du CEMADA. Deuxièmement, en tant qu'environnement institutionnel de l'élément numéro 10 du CEMADA, l'environnement favorable pour nous, c'est plutôt la disponibilité des bases de données sur la mécanisation agricole. Alors, les discussions techniques qu'on va mener ou les études, analyses techniques qu'on va mener se concentreront sur des bases de données dynamiques en matière de besoins ou de type pour chaque pays en matériel agricole. Cela nous servira d'outil d'aide à la prise de décision, pas uniquement pour le gouvernement, mais aussi et surtout pour les secteurs privés dans leur prise de décision d'investissement dans le secteur de la mécanisation agricole. Je pense... Allô?
Right. Okay. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for adding to the comments earlier on. I mean, I think you're highlighting two key things. The need to provide opportunities for more technical, in-depth discussions on FSAMA among participants to facilitate implementation. And you also mentioned the important issue of all these discussions should be backed by data. So having the right database that informs these kind of discussions. So that's very important there. Thank you very much. And in fact, this brings me to one question that I want to pose, because when I listen to Bereket and when I listen to you, Andrea Madi, I think what becomes clear is the question of having the right institutions that facilitate these technical discussions, that facilitate the experience sharing. And so the specific question that I want to pose is to you, is would you think that having a standing committee of directors of and heads of agricultural mechanization and engineering services from different countries in sub-Saharan Africa would add value to the oversight mechanisms of AfricaMechanize? If we have a standing committee of these technical people, the heads and directors of agricultural mechanization and engineering services from our different countries, is it something that you think would add value to the mechanisms that we have in place now and actually deepen the institutionalization process and the exchange of information on sustainable agricultural mechanization? And on this, I would like to come to you, Abdul Rahman Kamara, to share your thoughts on such a standing committee of directors. Please.
Thank you very much. The answer is the affirmative, yes. I think it will be a very good idea to bring in all the directors to form actually these committees for the following reasons. One, for effective coordination and exchange of ideas at sub-regional and continental level. Like the previous speakers were emphasizing, I think if we have this studying committee, they will actually able to bring in all the ideas put together, and we'll try to disseminate these ideas in the audiovisual form, like mentioned by my friend Bereket. And also, number two, when you are together, then that means strength. But if you are alone, that's weakness. So if we have the committee of these directors, we will be able to prepare proposals for development with relation to AfricaMechanize from all these webinars that we have attended. And when we prepare these proposals, we can submit as a group or as an organization or as a committee to international organizations, the FAO, the EU, AUC, and ACT Network, and other organizations for support. So you see, when we move together as a team, I think we'll be able to fight better than we move individually. That's what I think.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So for you, it's a clear yes, that
yes,
having such a standing committee of directors and heads of agricultural mechanization and engineering services is a necessity, is a must, is a big plus.
Right.
We have to put it in place. You have indicated the reasons why you believe so, including helping or facilitating the preparation of proposals to develop agricultural mechanization in Africa, and submitting that to development partners, even as a group, to promote these processes. Thank you very much for sharing that. Now let me go to Valentin Fombin. Are you okay with the audio now? Please, let's have a second go. Please unmute and speak, please. It is unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I see you speaking, but unfortunately, I cannot hear you again. That is really unfortunate. What I would suggest is that please kindly put your comments in the chat. Kindly put your comments in the chat, and then we will take note of it accordingly. Sorry that we couldn't hear you. I'm sure you have some very useful insights to share on the topic, but please kindly put it in the chat so that we don't lose it completely. I see that Bereket has his hand up, so I put that question to you in terms of having such a standing committee of directors and heads of agricultural mechanization and engineering services. Please, very briefly.
Actually, I was going to give you some comments. Many comments or questions have been raised on the question and answer side listed. So I was suggesting that we have, if we can answer for some of the questions, and also some of the questions were not clear for me. For example, the one raised by anonymous attendee. When we come to Mr. Fomimbi questions, can you please say it again?
Okay, great. We will look at the questions. We will look at the comments and questions in the chat. But would you like to make a quick comment on having such a standing committee as I put to Abdul from Sierra Leone?
Yes, of course. It's very important to have a standing or semi-permanent committee to sustainably work on it. For example, we all have our own business and our own planned activities, which is given by the ministry. Beside this, if we have a standing committee on this platform, we may meet beside this regular platform meeting to arrange the next step, or to plan activities, or to design what has to be done in the next platform. So I think it's useful. So I also support this idea.
Okay, thank you very much for also affirming that having such a standing committee of technical people will be good. The point that was made by Andrea Maki to facilitate these technical discussions and exchange. So that is also noted. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to go to, I'll kindly ask my colleague, Dr. Karim Bumi, to assist with some of the questions and comments and questions in the Q&A and the chat. So Karim, are you there? If you're there, please help with reading some of those questions and comments, and then we will get responses from our panelists, as Barakat indicated earlier. Karim, please.
Sorry, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so far there is no questions. Let's say there is some comment about, for example, to how to get the list of studies that are ongoing. This is one of questions. The other one is about what is lesson concerning the climate change and mechanizations. So this kind of general questions about agricultural mechanization. But frankly, about the, let's say, about the experience about webinars, so far I didn't see any question about that.
Okay, thank you very much, Karim. Now, so colleagues, you can actually raise your hand now. You can raise your hand now, and I will call you if you have a question for our panelists to say that. Okay, so I've seen one hand up, and that is Professor Hassan Buraraj. Please, Prof, go ahead.
Okay, I want to answer the question from Asogba Hodenu. He asked, je n'ai pas vu de leçon sur le changement climatique et la mécanisation, climate change and mechanization. So in the slide 8, one of the lessons we have obtained from the webinars was to look for good practices, and the conservation agriculture is one of the technologies that can be used for against green les gaz à effet de serre, the green gas, yes, the les gaz à effet de serre, and also the carbon sequestration. And we can also minimize the gasoline by using a few or less machinery on the field. And that's a kind of lessons that has been learned from the webinars. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof, for that response to the question that was relating promoting agricultural mechanization and climate change. So your response offering potential pathways that could be taken to, if you like greening agricultural mechanization and reducing its impact on in terms of greenhouse gases and the effects it has on the climate. Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for that. Any other comment or question from you? You can raise your hand and I'll call you. Joseph, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mark. I just wanted to alert you that actually there are some questions and comments in the chat, in the Q&A. So if you scroll down, you'll see there are some additional questions that have been put there. I don't know if you can see them.
Thank you very much for giving me the heads up. So yes, let me take this question. The last one here from Gabriel Sadiq, which says, what specific role and responsibility will the proposed standing committee have? Okay, this is a very important question which builds on the previous question that I asked the participants. So he wants to know what specific role and responsibility such a proposed standing committee will have. Who would like to take that question? Okay, Prof, is your hand a new hand or an old one? Prof. Brarash, is your hand a new hand or an old hand?
It's an old hand. Old hand.
Is that old hand? Okay. Okay. Right. So who would like to take this question on the specific role that the proposed standing committee of directors and heads of agricultural mechanization and engineering services in sub-Saharan Africa will play? Prof, again, your hand is, I think this is a new one, so have a go at it, please. Go ahead. And after that, I'll go to Abdurrahman from Sierra Leone.
Okay, but I will speak in French more easily. Yeah. Je pense que les directeurs et les chefs de service des mécanisations agricoles peuvent contribuer à la dynamisation de l'AfricaMechanize Platform. On a vu dans plusieurs recommandations et leçons apprises, c'est que d'abord, à la base, on voit qu'il y a un besoin de base de données. Et ceux qui ont la charge de la base de données, ce sont les directeurs et les chefs de service qui peuvent faire remonter les informations vers une base de données régionale, subrégionale et continentale. Ça, c'est le premier point. Et le deuxième point, toutes ces discussions, toutes ces recommandations ne peuvent être appliquées sur le terrain qu'à travers les directeurs et les chefs de service de mécanisation. C'est eux qui vont travailler sur le terrain, c'est eux qui seront en contact avec les agriculteurs. Et donc, leur rôle est très important dans la réflexion, dans la collecte des données et dans la mise en œuvre du cadre stratégique MADA. Merci.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for highlighting the role that such a standing committee can play, energizing the AfricaMechanize platform, and also the important positions that these personnel play in their respective countries, and therefore having them coming together is an important instrument in institutionalizing these exchanges that we are having. Thank you. Let me go to Abdul, please, for your thoughts on this question.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like Prof said, I think we are the people dealing with the farmers directly. So we know actually what they need and what sort of equipment in terms of machinery that they actually require in their different localities. Because some of these machines that are site specific, and therefore if we go to the site, you'll be able to determine exactly the type of, for example, power tiller that you need. Maybe we need a mini power tiller with regards to the soils aspect of the land in particular. So we have to determine all of that and bring in all these issues to the national governments to make sure that we actually implement these issues if we are actually if we are serious actually to achieve sustainable mechanization leading to food security in our countries.
Thank you. So you're saying that given the position that you occupy at country level, one, you are shaping policy and programming on agricultural mechanization. And so bringing such a group together will facilitate this process. And secondly, you also get information from the ground level. You know what is needed in the country, and that can then be brought together to shape the programming at regional or sub-regional level that should support agricultural mechanization at country level. Thank you very much for that point. Karim, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Just to say that I think it's an excellent idea. It's a really excellent idea. Is one way to how to dynamize and how to create this network, and what Abdulrahman said is very important to share experiences and so. But for me, what is very important is this committee is stand up and should be sustainable. This is very important. It should have, how to say, have some to develop activities and networking between countries. That's very important. And more precisely, to have some concrete things to share. As he said, Abdulrahman, for example, to develop proposals for projects, to look for together for finance these projects, and so, and that's can be a good idea. But sorry to say that if you create this committee just for the committee, I think it should not be sustainable. Just have given some more concrete things. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Karim, for that. So clearly, it is something that I mean, we are getting the value addition that such a committee will bring. So thank you for emphasizing those points. Let me go to this question from Anonymous. Anonymous attendee, you're anonymous, but your questions are important here. So it says to all the panelists, one is that what plant agro-product value chain in your country has a well-established mechanization system? And two, what plant agro-product value chain with comparative advantage in your country needs most mechanization support? So if I understand the question very well, it's basically saying, from your experiences from the different countries, in which value chains in your country do you see, do you have experiences of a well-established mechanization system in your country? In which value chains? That is one. And secondly, in which of these value chains do you have a comparative advantage and that needs the most support in agricultural mechanization? Who would like to take that question from our panelists? Which of the value chains in your country has well-established mechanization system, and which value chains need the most support for agricultural mechanization in your country? Do I see any hand from my panelists?
You'll see, sure.
Abdul?
Yes.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah,
and after you, I go to Barakat briefly, and then we can round this up.
Okay. So I think if I understood the question in terms of the value chain, well, for Sierra Leone, for example, our staple is rice. And our focus is to actually mechanize along the rice value chain. And we have gone, we have just started, I'll say, because some years back, we had some challenges because the support was given by the government or Ministry of Agriculture. And now we have moved away from that perspective to encouraging the private sector development. So now we are having a policy shift, bringing in the private sector, which is why the government procured 410 machines, including equipment and other instruments. That we have, for now, 210 tractors of different modes and power tillers, 200 to support the rice value chain. And also now we also have the mills. We have a very large mills with the stoners and mini mills. And as I speak to you now, the minister just requested that we procured about 200 mini mills so that we distribute them across the country in every chiefdom in the country. So we have 191 chiefdoms. Those should be distributed. So that is actually our focus.
Okay, thank you. So rice value chain is one of the priority value chains that should receive mechanization support in Sierra Leone. Thank you. Barakat, please, briefly.
Okay, in our case, in Ethiopian agricultural mechanization, the main focus was on crop production. Actually, when you see the mechanization level in Ethiopia, it's from the small farm machineries, which can be attached by, which will be drawn by animals or human power. Also, some farm machineries attached with walk-behind tractors, two-wheel tractors, up to very huge earth-moving machineries, like scraper units. This application is varies from smallholder farmers to state-owned big investment farmers and some commercial farmers. 80% of the land holding for agriculture is owned by the smallholders, actually, but around 10% of the huge investment is under the government state farms, and few commercial investment farms. So those huge state farms, they use fully mechanized technologies. For example, when you see the cotton farms and the sugar industries and some crop producer investment government state farms, currently some of them are privatized due to this government policy. So those big farmers, they use huge farm machineries and very sophisticated ones. Even most of them use irrigation technologies, pivot irrigation, and some of them use precision agriculture also.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Barakat, for that response to the question from Ethiopia. We are running out of time, so I would like to bring this session to a close. Rondro Malala, I give you 30 seconds to make the point that you want to make. I see your hand up. Please go ahead very briefly, and then we wrap this up. You are muted.
Oui, merci beaucoup. Juste une petite intervention par rapport à la dernière question. Pour Madagascar, c'est la même chose que la Sierra Leone, c'est la filière vie, évidemment, mais plutôt au bout du chaîne de valeur, c'est-à-dire pour la mécanisation de la récolte et de la post-récolte, puisque c'est là qu'il y a des pertes, des grosses pertes, qui désormais pourraient nous suffire en autosuffisance en riz, qui est notre aliment de base. Et puis, il y a aussi le maïs et le manioc qui nous aident beaucoup dans l'alimentation humaine et notamment en alimentation animale. Je vous remercie beaucoup pour les 20 secondes que vous m'avez accordées. Merci.
Thank you. Thank you very much also for highlighting the need for mechanization support in the post-harvest segment of the value chain. Thank you very much, colleagues, Barakat, Rondro Malala, Abdul, and also Valentin from being from Cameroon that we couldn't hear, but I saw your comments in the chat. Thank you for sharing these experiences, your reflections and proposals for improving these webinar series going forward. We are grateful. So now let me move to the next session. We are a bit behind time, 15 minutes behind time. And that is a discussion on the priority regional and sub-regional activities for 2022. I think some ideas have come up already. So let me invite Professor Geoffrey Mrema, who is a technical advisor with the African Conservation Tillage Network. Prof, please.
Thank you, Mark. I will start the presentation and the Prof will come in towards the end.
Right.
Yeah, so let me quickly share the presentation. Okay. Okay, I hope you can see my presentation, yeah?
Yes, please put it in presentation mode. Good, thank you.
Yeah, it's already in okay. So, yeah, thank you so much. So I'm just going to go very quickly through some ideas on FSAMA priority activities at the national, sub-regional, and regional level, based on what has transpired from the discussions that we have had so far. In a matter of introduction, just to remind ourselves that the FSAMA webinars were started for the aim of creating participatory environment for the implementation of SAMA. We have had, through this webinar series, managed to introduce the FSAMA itself, shared experiences among stakeholders, and they also created some networking and collaboration. Going forward, we feel that it's important to consolidate what we have achieved so far. And we need to go a step further, and take some actions beyond the webinars themselves to accelerate operationalization of SAMA in Africa. I wanted to start by reminding ourselves that at national level, we have quite a number of stakeholders who are supporting development and promotion of mechanization. We need to acknowledge them. We cannot put all of them. We try to put some few. But we also wanted to highlight that the directors of mechanization within the country are taking a very important responsibility of directing the way mechanization is developed and promoted in any particular country. So the heads and directors of agricultural mechanization, they have a key role to play in coordinating and leading sustainable agricultural mechanization efforts in the country. In terms of policy and strategy formulation and supporting investment in mechanization. We wanted to highlight also that in the past 50 years in Asia, the heads and directors of agricultural mechanization have played a very key role in steering mechanization development in those countries. Unfortunately, this has not been the case in Africa. So when you compare Asia and Africa, the heads and directors of mechanization have contributed quite a lot in Asia, and it would be very good to have a similar kind of situation in Africa as well. We also feel that they have an important role to play when it comes to engaging other stakeholders, especially the private sector, and also when it comes to leading on issues like standard development and testing centers and so forth. We wanted also to bring up to you that back in 1975, during the Global Expert Consultation on Agricultural Mechanization in Rome, a recommendation was given that countries should create and establish strong directorate of agricultural mechanization development. We believe that this is still valid today. And looking back, we find that again in Asia, this was taken very, very strongly and seriously. And many directorates and centers were established. But again, this was not the case in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, especially where this initiative started beginning of 2000s. Therefore, we recommend strongly that there is a need to re-emphasize the need for each country to establish a very strong directorates of mechanization for the implementation of SAMA. And also it's important that these directorates are supported to develop long-term vision of SAMA or of sustainable agricultural mechanization following the 10 elements of SAMA. And we are glad that some countries have started to take some actions to revise their strategies based on the SAMA framework. We also feel that there is a strong need for consolidating the collaboration amongst the heads and directors of agricultural mechanization. I think today's webinar has confirmed that there is a need, and therefore there is a need also of scaling up the ongoing efforts to include networking, joint efforts. This could be at the regional economic community or REX level, for example, in ECOWAS, in SADC, in East African Community, in ECAS, to make sure that the directors, they're speaking, they're sharing information, they're working to, collaboratively. Then for this to happen, it will require institutional strengthening and a coordinated effort. Therefore, we are proposing the following. Number one, we are proposing organization of 1 to 2 days virtual meeting of heads and directors of agricultural mechanization in the beginning of 2022 to kickstart the discussions, give them platform to discuss and agree on issues like networking and the roadmap on how this networking could be strengthened. Also, we feel that there is a need to explore ways in which heads and directors of agricultural mechanization could play a more active role in the implementation of SAMA and supporting other stakeholders also to participate, for example, the private sector in the development and implementation of SAMA. This therefore should lead into discussion at sub-regional level and eventually maybe having discussions at a regional level. And we are thinking of things like standards for agricultural machinery, testing of agricultural machinery jointly, and then participation and benefiting from the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, where mechanization and trade in agricultural machinery could also benefit from this agreement. We therefore wish to commend the establishment of AfricaMechanize. I think it was a very good step. We also commend the initiation of FSAMA webinars, because through them, we have started sharing information, creating collaboration, and building ground for more networking. We know that time is running fast. We are now in the beginning of the 4th year since the launching of FSAMA, so we need to move fast. Therefore, going into 2022, we recommend the following. Number one, we recommend more active role of the DEMS. They've been participating, but I think they can take more active roles, bearing in mind that they're directing mechanization in their countries. We recommend engagement of other development partners and other stakeholders in supporting operationalization of SAMA. And for these, the directors of agricultural mechanization have a very big role to play, because they know the partners that they have and they're working with in their own countries. We feel that there is a need for more efforts to be put by all stakeholders in operationalizing SAMA. There are 10 elements of SAMA, and each stakeholder can start with 1 or 2 elements, and going that way and completing the all 10 elements. But this needs to be done in a coordinated way. We also feel very strongly that there is no need for more engagement of the private sector. For example, those who are involved in agricultural machinery supplies, more engagement of private-public partnerships at the field level. I think this will go a very long way to expedite operationalization of SAMA. And with those few remarks, thank you so much. I bring back the floor to you, Mark.
Thank you very much, Joseph, for outlining some priority regional and sub-regional activities for 2022. I think it's very clear what you have recommended, and in fact, most of that actually reflects the reflections if I'm allowed to say that, they reflect what we have heard from our panelists in terms of what we can do going forward. Prof. Mrema, are you still making an input on this? Hello? Okay, I cannot hear Prof. Geoffrey Mrema. I take it that Joseph has covered. Okay, Prof, there you are.
Yeah, I was cut off for a few minutes, a few seconds, but I think Joseph has said it all, and I have nothing else to add. I think if we support those few action points which Joseph has articulated on the screen, I think we'll be making quite a lot of progress next year. And we look forward to the full support of the directors and their staff in operationalization of the EFSA activities starting from next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. For...
Sorry, the line is very poor.
Yeah, but I could hear you. You are basically endorsing what Joseph has said. And I've also seen a comment in the chat that said it's really, he has actually hit the bullseye on what we need to do going forward. So thank you very much. Let me now move quickly to the concluding comments from FAO on FSAMA, the African Mechanized Activities during 2022. And I would like to invite the Senior Water Development and Management Officer of FAO at the Regional Office for Africa, Valère Nzimana, to give us some comments. Valère, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I think everything has been said. Only if we look into the priorities for the coming year, I can only, I'm not repeating what was being said, but I'm emphasizing only on some points. To be practical, there are things to do, and then things to be done are the long-term vision. For the long-term vision, we need to revise the strategies for summer in Africa. But also we need to have the network scaling up. There is a need of institutions dedicated to agricultural mechanization. But based on this, we will have to have concrete actions. At the beginning of the year, we have this virtual meeting to organize. It's very important that we have this one. We have also to discuss at sub-regional level and at the regional level. But also, as it has been said, these webinars have been proven to be very important. They have to be continued. Through the discussion, we will know what to discuss in the coming webinars. The heads and the directors of mechanization have to play a very big role, and then they have to be really active without forgetting the existing partners for finance and technical. Those also have to be engaged. And as it has been said, the private sector has to play a very big role, and they have to be engaged. And then private sector, the youth, the women, and the ICT side has also to be very active. In brief, those are things that you have really to take care of in the coming year. Thank you. I stop here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Valère. I think these are also really important. In fact, one of the key objectives after the launch of the Framework for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization was to get countries to be guided by this framework in developing their own national strategies. So I think you mentioned the need for this to happen, and several other key points that you have mentioned, which I will not repeat. Thank you. At this point, let me bring in Joseph Kingsley, who is the agricultural engineer and leader of the mechanization group in the Plant Production and Protection Division at FAO headquarters in Rome, and who has been leading this process and providing support throughout, always in the background. He doesn't show his face much, but please, Joseph, please come in and give us your concluding comments.
Hey, thank you, Mark, and thanks everybody in this webinar. It was absolutely interesting and stunning for me to have such active countries today, from Madagascar, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, Tanzania, and I forgot one now. Anyway.
Madagascar.
Yeah, Madagascar, of course, yeah. And Madagascar specifically, as we know, our colleagues from the emergency operations, we know that Madagascar is suffering a big crisis, and I'm happy that, and think it's good that the Madagascan mechanization director is here to maybe to point out that what mechanization can do in this case to help overcoming a food crisis in the country. It was mentioned, I mean, yes, the role of the dummies is clear, and the standing committee might be a good thing. Maybe we can also make the AfricaMechanize platform a little bit more interactive. I was wondering, when I listened today and watched the Q&A also, maybe we can try to have a Q&A in there too. You know, I mean, maybe not to answer instantly, but maybe within 48 hours to get a response. If somebody has a burning question, we could put this up. I mean, if you want a standing committee, we can have a standing Q&A maybe. We could think about that to make this platform a little bit more like a tool in a way. That's what it's supposed to be in the end of the day. On the private sector, yes, it was always my thinking, and you know, there are examples of initiatives from the private sector, and I think we have to find a mechanism to let the private sector also present in this webinar series. We have to be careful that we don't favor one against the other, but maybe we make a schedule so that we don't forget anyone and tell everybody, okay, this will be your turn, then the next one will be in another one. So, but I think we have to start also letting the private sector present their ideas and what they actually already do or what they plan to do. And after all, it's the private sector who are delivering the machinery and supplying and are responsible for the maintenance and repair. I know that we need a summer program. I mean, a more robust program, which we have been working or trying to get since a while. We are working on these papers on directions in investments for mechanization in Africa, together with ACT and other partners and experts. And I think during next year, maybe by mid-year, we will have those directions in investments a little bit more clear, and maybe can then also convince donors, because that's another, donors can also be dedicated for such a webinar, you know, let them also, maybe European Union together with the African Union to bring them, invite them also to bring their views on mechanization. And I know that in February is the African Union, European Union Summit in Brussels, which is now scheduled. It was postponed because of COVID, but I think it's now happening. We are not directly involved, but we should look at this summit and maybe see if we can do some last minute facilitation that mechanization pops up at the right place during that meeting as well. I know it's challenging because these summits are very rigid and very high level, but still we should try to get their spot maybe. I mean, I don't think we get a side event at this time, but maybe at some, we can help to get our into there too. And then one thing that's also on the list to be done is the issue of the cross-border trade. I mean, not only the national dummies, but also the cross-border issue. Trade, but also standards. If you want to do trade, you have to have machinery that has the same standard requirement on this side and the other side of the border. And we all know that the standardization is another topic that is in waiting room. And if you have a good program, that will have to be included. So, well, what I'm saying is obviously there's a lot of work to be done still, and but I'm happy we have a robust team together, and this webinar series, the AfricaMechanize platform, and the stakeholders behind are, I think we have the right ingredients, yeah, I'm optimistic. We will get that summer program on its way, the one that they're all working for next year, or hopefully next year. With that, I'm closing, and I think, I mean, I'm ending my part, and I want to thank Mark for your great facilitation, but also all the others, and Jerome for the opening. And with that, I think that was my part. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Joseph, for those key points, some of which I just want to highlight. So in addition to the documents we have on the AfricaMechanize website, let's have the audio visuals, as was said earlier, but you are adding the important issue of making it more interactive, so that you know, people can contribute ideas there and facilitate the exchange also on the platform. That's a good one. And you have mentioned we shouldn't forget the private sector, even as we create a platform for the heads of agricultural mechanization and engineering services from the public sector, extend our exchange and linkages to the European Union, take advantage of other platforms such as the EU-AU summits, and look at the issues of cross-border trade as it relates to agricultural machinery, and therefore the issue of standardization. Thank you very much for those points. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it has been a very active, a very vibrant exchange. The ideas which have come are very clear on what we have achieved in this year and what we should be focusing on going into next year. All the comments and questions that you put in the chat and the Q&A, and those that we couldn't directly address, we have taken note of all of them, and it will inform the planning going forward. So I would like to thank you very much for the contribution. At this point, we are coming to the concluding part of the webinar, and I would like to invite the Deputy Regional Representative of FAO at the Regional Office for Africa, Yerdi Yasmi, to give us the closing remarks, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. Just wanted to check if I'm audible to all of you.
You are audible indeed,
Yes.
please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Colleagues, really warm greetings to all of you from FAO Regional Office for Africa in Accra. It is really a great honor and pleasure for me to be able to participate a little bit, you know, in the last part of your discussions. And I found it really, really encouraging and interesting. So also it is, you know, important for me to recognize the importance of this event. Yeah, for FAO, this is really important. Dr. Nola, the head of Agriculture and Food Security Division, African Union Commissions, lead presenters, Engineer Saidi Mokomwa, Executive Director, African Conservation Tillage Network, or ACT, Nairobi, Kenya, and El Hassan Boururah, Technical Advisor, African Conservation Tillage Network. Webinar panelists, Barakat Forsido, Director of Agriculture Mechanization of Ethiopia, Anna Wangamilo, my apology because I don't pronounce this well, the Acting Director of Mechanization and Irrigation of Tanzania, Mr. Abdurrahman Kamara, the Director of Agriculture Engineering, Sierra Leone, Andrea Madi Orondro Malala, the heads of department for the promotion of agriculture mechanization, Madagascar, Valentin Fombin, the Deputy Director of Agriculture Mechanization of Cameroon. Distinguished participants, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Let me start by thanking those who made this event possible, with special mention to the following: the organizers, the AUC, FAO, and ACT for organizing the webinar series and their joint actions on operationalizing SAMA. All speakers, panelists, and the facilitator, Mark Finn. You are facilitating it very well indeed, Mark, so thank you. You, the participants from across the continent of Africa and beyond, who have continued to support this webinar series, which indicates the importance of this topic for us. The translators for effective and accurate service. Special appreciation to AUC for taking the leadership to operationalize SAMA with the technical support of FAO and secretariat support of ACT through the AfricaMechanize platform. Colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to note that you have managed to organize 8 webinars under this webinar series on the joint actions on operationalization of the framework for sustainable agriculture mechanization in Africa, or SAMA. The webinars have attracted more than 1,400 participants, 48 speakers with, over 75 participating countries. This is really a big achievement, and I would like to highlight this. And I would like to thank all of you who have made this possible. This is such an important and well-sustained initiative in itself. So, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to note some important issues that were discussed today. You had a chance to look back at what has been achieved so far. The lead presentation highlighted some key achievements. You were reminded that the 7 webinars which have been organized before today's webinar have covered key area of mechanization based on the 10 elements of SAMA, and they included webinar 1, 2, 3, and 6, sharing information, experiences, and updates on the operationalization of SAMA, the use of mechanization in Africa. They included presentation from Benin, Cameroon, Chad, Ghana, Ivory Coast, Nigeria, Senegal, South Africa, Tanzania, and Uganda. Also, the private sectors, cooperative, NGO, researchers, and academia participated in these webinars. Webinar 4, Impact of Paradigm Shifts on the Development of Agricultural Mechanization in Sub-Saharan Africa, a case study of farm power. Seasoned experts from Africa shared their experiences and perspective on this important topic. Webinar 5, Promoting Innovative Finance Mechanisms for Sustainable Agricultural Mechanization. Expert from John Cope, affiliated to GIZ, IFAD, AGRA, and Agriculture Development Banks based in Senegal and Tanzania shared their experience and proposed some recommendations. Webinar 7, just the one before today, Enhancing Social Sustainability and the Roles of Women and Youth in Agricultural Mechanization in Africa. Expert from GIZ, NEPAD ODA, Ministry of Agriculture Uganda, Nepal, and youth from Senegal were invited to speak and share their experiences. So, for me, we have come a long way. At this juncture, I wish to commend the participating directors and heads of the agricultural mechanization and engineering service from the 5 countries in Africa. The director of mechanization play a key role in helping their countries to set to set conducive environment, including policies and strategies, which enables mechanization to strive. Therefore, their continued participation and contribution to this initiative is really key and important. I thank them for their participation today and for sharing their experience on the main lessons learned from the 2021 AfricaMechanize Webinar series and value addition of the AfricaMechanize webinars to their national programs. I'm also very glad that going forward, the directors have provided very important inputs focusing on further improvement of the AfricaMechanize webinar series, including scaling up, a possibility of enhancing the collaboration started so far, including starting a more formal networking between directors of mechanization from Sub-Saharan Africa to jointly address issues aimed at expediting promotion and use of mechanization, including by operationalizing SAMA, and build on knowledge and experiences shared in the webinar series to scaling up implementation of SAMA on the ground. I'm also very pleased to note that during this webinar, you all had a chance to discuss and reflect on the priorities and activities on the operationalization of SAMA for 2022. The input of the directors, as well as all of you, the participants in general, through a very interactive Q&A sessions are very useful and will go a long way in ensuring more success of the AfricaMechanize webinars and the platform in general in creating more collaboration and networking. Colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to all of you for attending this webinar. It is my sincere hope that under the leadership of AUC, technical support of FAO, and the support of you, the participants, we will continue to support the operationalization of SAMA through the AfricaMechanize platform, this particular platform. I wish you all happy end of the year holidays. Stay safe, and I trust that you will be able to join us again in 2022 for the next series of some webinars and events on the AfricaMechanize platform. So thank you so much for being part of this effort. With this, it is now my pleasure to declare this webinar officially closed. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Yerji Yasmi, for closing this webinar for us on such a powerful closing note. Ladies and gentlemen, there's one last thing that's left for us to do. Can you please turn on your cameras, your video cameras? We would like to take a photo together before we depart. So kindly turn on your cameras and then we will take a photo. Good, I'm seeing more and more faces. Yes, a few more.
Mark, you tell us when to smile, okay?
Great. So we will take a couple of photos. Put on your best smile. Yes, Joseph.
Only one lady.
Yes, taken. Yeah, it's done.
Okay, excellent. So the photos are taken. Thank you very much once again for your participation and insightful contribution. We wish you the best of the rest of the day and night wherever you are. Thank you very much and see you again next day.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Merci, camarade.
Il n'a pas dit quoi.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. Asante Varero.
Asante sana. Asante sana.
Merci beaucoup. Asante.
Valer, good to see you again.
Thank you so much,
good
Mark.
to see you, Abdul Kamara.
Mark,
All right.
Mark, thank you so much. We were so much worried when your internet started not.
I tell you, yeah, it's been a
well.
very good, very good. That's right.
Yeah, but
all right.
It was good that at the end it worked fine. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes.
No, I think it was a very good discussion. I'm really
very good facilitator.
happy.
That's
and,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now we are bracing ourselves.
Yeah, but the work is still there for the next year. Spend the end of the year thinking about that.
Telling you, yeah. That's right.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay, have a nice weekend and then Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Merry
Happy
Christmas
New Year
and
to you too.
Happy New Year.
Same to you. All right.
Thank you.